This is a mouse that you can shape to perfectly fit your hand. Make it long, short, wide or thin to suit your fingertip, claw or palm grip. This mouse can do it all. You will no longer need to buy another gaming mouse ever again. This is the Pathfinder, a modular gaming mouse from OrbitalWorks. If you've been following the gaming mouse industry for a while, so you're old, this might immediately trigger some dark memories of another modular mouse. It's okay, don't worry, take a deep breath. If you did contribute to the crowdfunding campaign though, this is different. Look, it's a physical product that I'm holding in my hands. Look at it! Also hang around near the end because there's some hilarious updates with the Astrum. From my time spent with this mouse, I understand why others may have failed and why modular mice aren't attempted. But the big question is, have OrbitalWorks actually done what is considered impossible? Before we get started, this is a test unit, so it's not an accurate representation of the final product. OrbitalWorks provided some review notes that addressed some flaws already, and I'll reference these when they become relevant. So let's break this mouse down into two parts. First, we have the core of the mouse. This has no modular components currently attached. Without any modular components, the dimensions are approximately 116mm long, 54mm wide and 36mm tall, and weighs just 52 grams. The mouse is your standard issue gaming mouse. It's using on-one optical switches, I believe, which is great, and also a 3950 sensor. On the underside you can see some rather rough looking areas. I believe this mouse is 3D printed, which is probably why. Apparently this will be ABS plastic on release. I will do a weight check with some modular parts attached in a moment. There's some cutouts on the underside that also look to accommodate a charging dock. And also ignore the mouse feet. I saw the outlines where they should be placed and decided that I'm not going to conform to their rules and just stuck them where I wanted to. I'm a free thinking individual. So with this you also get a box, and this box contains all the good stuff. There's even a guide to tell you which parts are what, which is useful the first time you use it but then becomes completely useless as you then put stuff back in the wrong place. Obviously the left side of the accessories go on the left side of the mouse and vice versa. On the bottom you have all your humps and side buttons. There's also these little things. They've really thought of everything when it comes to helping you make your perfect shape. So how does all this come together? You pick a right shape piece, you line up these stems with the holes and push it in. That's literally it. You can't do this wrong, and taking this off is just as easy. Just put your finger in the gap and pull it towards you. It's better to do it from the underside as it's a lot easier and less likely to break. It requires very little force to remove these. Despite how easy it is to put together and take apart, these modular components are pretty stable when attached. The simplicity of this design is amazing, and it actually encourages you to swap the different shapes around and try them all out. I had the box sitting next to me on my desk so I could just swap them out easily whenever I died. So it also meant that I could blame certain shapes for my in-game failures, which resulted in me blaming 2,500 different shape variations that I came up with. Remember these little things? These are spacers, so if you want the mouse to be wider, you can attach these onto the shape piece you've selected to get a bit more width. And this is also where the extra side buttons come into it. If you're an absolute giga chad and want the widest mouse possible, the standard pathetic baby side buttons won't be big enough, so they have included some spares. It's only when I've added these spacers that there's started to be a bit of movement on some of the shapes. It doesn't affect all of them. Again, this may be resolved for the retail unit, and I only noticed it because I moved my grip around a lot whilst playing. The back is also really cool. You have 4 different hump styles, a small, medium and high hump, as well as a right-handed hump. And these attach to this little rail system, which is a bit more rigid than the sides, but that's probably because it has to withstand the weight from your hand. You attach the back onto the rail and push it in. I've had no movement when this has been attached at all. It's a perfect implementation from my experience. There's also spacers for this part as well, so again, if you want to make a long boy, you can. Even with these added spacers, the hump still remains pretty sturdy. I even double stacked these spacers to make a 130mm long gaming mouse, and it's still held in place well. So with some of the spacers and shapes attached, the approximate weight of this is around 67 grams, so nothing too unreasonable. Apparently when it's going to be using ABS plastic for release, this could go down to around the 59 gram mark. You can make some absolute abominations with these components, but you can also make some more familiar designs as well. Playing with this though does highlight some of the flaws of this 3D printed test version. The coating is very sticky, and yes, I do wash my hands, and the creaking that is actually caused by the core of the mouse is rather annoying. There's a lot of movement on the main mouse 1 and 2. Orbital already refers to this in the review notes and said that this will be resolved for the retail unit. I was rather apprehensive when I first saw this mouse. I had watched the videos that WarHURYEAH published showing off the mouse, and it always fills me with a bit of concern because this is a very ambitious product. With all these components, there's more things that can go wrong. And not only that, they are also working under a weight limit here as well, because if the mouse weighs too much, many will start calling this dead on arrival. Despite this being a test product, I've been very impressed by it. Having the modular components being this easy to swap around is a key factor in making this successful. And having spacers also is a really nice touch to address the limitations of just providing standard shapes of a set thickness. To get this mouse down to around 68 grams is already an achievement in itself. WarHURYEAH have done what I thought would be impossible. I cannot begin to imagine the headaches that they've gone through to make this a functional and stable product. Pre-orders are soon, and there's still a bit of time for release, with the approximate date being around March of next year. They've told me I'll get a release copy when that time comes around. If and when I get a copy, my regular standards will apply. It won't have the leeway of being a test product anymore. So for those that have been waiting for the Astrum, here you go, finally a possible alternative. I've been following the Indiegogo page of the Astrum. There's a guy that's been trying to contact BST, the owner of Ninox, for a while now. Basically, he's ignoring everyone and hiding behind his dad. But thankfully, WarHURYEAH may succeed in delivering an actual modular gaming mouse. As you won't have to buy another gaming mouse now, well, best to buy a gaming keyboard instead. There's a video on screen now. Click it.